All right, guys, the one way we can move forward is by having goals for ourselves. Now, while I am a proponent of goals, I think it is more important that we also focus on the journey towards reaching that goal. Just as important as the destination is our journey and our dream chase. And sometimes that is more important than what our goals are. For me, goals are the guide and the path that we take to get to where we're going. And sometimes we may not reach that goal. And I don't want to say that, I'm not saying this for you to just make goals and not reach them. Goals are something we want to attain. They are guides for us as we journey in life. But sometimes goals are there to keep us accountable, to keep us focused, to keep us on a path. So what I want you to do is think about your goals for the next year, for the next quarter, for the next 30 days, right? Think about what is it you're trying to do. And as you're coming up with goals, what we want to do is we want to get smart with it. Okay. This may not be the first time you've heard about it, but let me tell you a little bit about SMART. SMART goals are ones that are specific, right? They give you details. They answer questions about the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, why. And it talks about how. And so when we talk about SMART, we go to the next one. M, measurable. How are you going to measure your success? If you don't have a barometer or some kind of a measurement that you can measure your goal by, then you're not really, how will you ever know if you made it or not? How will you even measure your success, right? So having a goal that has no measurement, how do you judge that? It's very confusing, right? So then we also want to make sure that we're looking at achievable goals. Achievable means I want to be, here's an example of not achievable. I want to be a NASA engineer going into space tomorrow. Guys, that doesn't make sense. That won't happen. It's not possible, right? It's not an achievable goal for us to set for ourselves. So think about the different areas you have in your life. And we're going to talk about areas in the next playlist video. But what are the things that you can do given your circumstances, given your environment, given what you have at your fingertips? What are achievable goals for yourself? So let's also talk about relevancy, the R in SMART. Does this even connect to what you want? One of the things I talk about a lot is how this is your life. No one else can live it. No one else can enjoy it except you. So I want you to focus on making goals that are important to you, yourself, and you alone. That's it, right? Other people will have thoughts and ideas of what you should do with your life, but what do you want? Because at the end of the day, you are the one accountable for your life. So are they relevant to what you want and your life's purpose? Is it time specific or time bound? You can't just leave a goal open-ended. It's not really a goal. It's a wish. And so we want to put some parameters around that. Get specific. What and how long are we looking at for this goal for you to attain it? Right? Just like I want to, well, it wasn't a great example. I want to be a NASA engineer who goes into space tomorrow. Tomorrow is the time period. So what is your realistic time period for you to achieve your goal? Now on the page, we talk about an example about I want to lose weight. Vague. It's there. It's probably relevant, right? Doesn't really say measurable. How do we measure that? What's the time period? It's not very specific either, is it? Right? It's probably achievable, but based on what? So let's get it specific. Let's get it measurable. Let's get it achievable, and let's get it relevant and time bound. So then at the very end, you have, I want to lose 15 pounds. So there's a measure. Before my birthday on October 15, 2023, time bound, by losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, that's specific, to be the best, healthiest version of myself. That's relevant in order to have more energy to play with kids. This is an achievable goal, right? So depending on when they set this, I'm assuming there's at least a few months before October 15. Now, if it was in 15 days and they want to lose 15 pounds, that's not achievable. But if you've given yourself some runway, it makes sense. And that's what we want you to do. when you're looking at goals, create goals for yourself that make sense. And you can create goals for yourself for the year. I know as we're coming up on a new year, depending on when you watch this, a lot of people are going to have goals. I want to encourage you to focus on the next 90 days. In the next 90 days, 12 weeks, what do you want to achieve? Go back to your vision board. Go back to what you're trying to do. What is your vision? And apply that with your goals. Together, it's a powerful tool. So mine was transcripts. I want to do well in school. I want to get A's. That's attainable. That's where I am. Now, a larger goal, I want to graduate on this date from this program for these reasons, right? That's cool. But I want you in this book, in this planner, in this journal, focus on the next 90 days. What do you want to accomplish? And let's work on that. Okay? So as we're working on that, I'm going to skip 2 pages. I'll talk about areas of your life and its habits in a different video. We want you to write it down. I want you to write down your goals. Tell yourself, this is the goal. When you write things down, it stays with you. It's like memory muscle. It stays with you. Write down the reason for this goal. Remind yourself of your why. Simon Sinek talks about the importance of knowing your why. And I think it's so powerful and it's true. So write down the why. What is the reward? What happens when you do it? What happens when you achieve? Yes, you've achieved the goal, but what are you going to do to treat yourself? You know, just like in Parks and Rec, treat yourself. You deserve it. And then maybe draw something to remind yourself, right? So we've provided pages to help you with that. Write down your goal. Write down your why. What is your reward? What is the plan? What are you going to do to make sure you reach that goal? For me, in my example of grades, I'm going to study. I'm going to put together a study plan for myself. I'm going to find a study group, right? Those are plans and steps I'm going to put into my action plan. And for visual motivation, I'm going to take the image of my transcripts, all saying A's, and put it there to motivate myself. Now, having this goal is great, but sometimes we have to break it down even more. And so we provided a plan details subtasks. So now I've said, I want to create a study schedule. The subtask is write it down. The subtask is get my calendar and put those time blocks in my calendar. I'm going to write it into my planner. I'm going to write it into my calendar. This time is set aside for studying so that there is no excuse for me, or I minimize the excuses for me to not study. Find a study group. Plan of action, a subtask. Reach out to the students in my class, right? This is what I want you to think about when you're thinking about subtasks. Great to have a goal, but we need to have the action steps to make it happen, right? So do your best, attack it, figure out what you want to do, and try not to have more than 4 goals a quarter. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. You don't want to try to do too much. Take it a little bit at a time, and you'll be amazed at how far you come.